guys, and welcome to my November TBR video. I've been waiting for this month for so long. I have really been in the mood lately to read nonfiction, and I will be participating in Nonfiction November. So all of the books I'm going to be showing you guys today are nonfiction books. For the most part, that's what I plan on reading. So Olive from Book Olive, she hosts every November Nonfiction November, and to just help encourage everybody to read more nonfiction. And I do love nonfiction. I haven't really read much of it lately, so I really just want to deep dive into the genre over the course of the month. I will leave a link to her channel and her video if you want to check that out. There are 4 different prompts for the month. I forget what they are now. I don't think I'm really gonna bother too much with trying to make my books fall into the prompts. I'm pretty sure somehow I can make them fit, but my plan for the month is each week I kind of have a different topic or theme that I'm reading around. I probably will read at least a couple of regular fiction books during the month, but I don't have planned out yet what I want to read. It's kind of just going to be mood reading along the way so that I don't get burnt out from reading so much nonfiction. The goal is I've set myself about 3 books a week to read. I do have a lot of like audiobooks, and I have physical books here to show you guys, and so I feel like I have a good chance of being able to get through this many books for the month, because last month, well, this month for October, I kind of really strayed off of my TBR. Normally I'm pretty good at sticking with what I say I'm going to read during the month, but this month I kind of just like went off. But I think that for November I'm going to pretty much be sticking with this, so let's get straight into them. So the first week the theme for me for the first week is to read books about books. So the first one is How to Read Nonfiction Like a Professor by Thomas C. Foster. I read How to Read Literature Like a Professor by him before, and I enjoyed that one. I received this one a couple of months ago, I think from Harper Perennial as like a review copy, and so I specifically have been saving it and putting it off for this month. I think this will be the perfect book to start the month off with, and this is a smart, irreverent guide to biography, history, journalism, blogs, and everything in between. So hopefully this book will help me to get more out of the books I read that are in the nonfiction genre. The next 2 are books that I picked up pretty recently, if you've watched some of my recent book haul videos. The first one is Dear Reader, The Comfort and Joy of Books. This is by Kathy Rentzenbrick. This book is described as a moving, funny, and joyous exploration of how books can change the course of your life, packed with recommendations from one reader to another. This just sounds like a very much a nice comfort read, and the cover on this is just really gorgeous as well. The same goes for the next one. This one is Bookworm by Lucy Mangan. This is a memoir of childhood reading. In this book, it's described that Lucy brings the favorite characters of our collective childhoods back to life, prompting endless rereadings, rediscoveries, and inevitably fierce debate, and brilliantly uses them to tell her own story, that of a born and unrepentant bookworm. So I think that these 2 books read together will just be perfect. So for the first week, those were the books about books. I have other ones as well, but I feel like 3 is kind of realistic for how much I would be able to get to. So the next week, I kind of want to read stuff focused or like kind of centered on European history. So I have 3 books for that. The first one is Versailles, a biography of Paris by Tony Spawforth. I recently watched the show Versailles on Netflix, and it inspired me to want to read more about the actual palace and the story and history behind that show. So this one definitely centers on the palace itself. This is a history all about the palace, from its architecture to politics to scandal to restoration. It's a place I would one day, when COVID is finally behind us, would love to go see in person, but for now I'm gonna have to settle on this. And next we have She-Wolves by Helen Castor. This one is about the women who ruled England before Elizabeth. It starts with the death of Edward VI in 1553 in England, and for the first time they would have a reigning queen. We're following the stories of Eleanor of Aquitaine, Isabella of France, Margaret of Anjou, and the Empress Matilda, to see who would become of these women who would rule the nation. So I've had this on my shelf for so long. I've been wanting to get to it for so long. I probably even had this on my TBR for last Nonfiction November, so I really hope I get to this one. And then lastly, for this week on European history, I have another one I picked up recently, and that is Afropean Notes from Black Europe by Johnny Pitts. I really want to read a book that kind of, instead of a lot of European history books focus on white history, and I think this one will be a good balance to get another perspective of other people, like of African people who are part of this history as well. I feel like this will be a good place to start. There's a few other books I've heard of recently that go into African history in Europe, and I definitely want to pick those up, but this one I want to read first. This one's my priority, and then I'll go buy the other ones. African history and the history of like African communities in Europe isn't something that I'm very knowledgeable about, so I'm hoping that this book will be just a really great jumping off point for learning about that. So I'm hoping to get to that book during that week, but if not, I might push it to the next week because I had another nonfiction book that I was on hold with on my Libby app for my library that came out I think like a month ago or so. It was pretty new. It's called Mad and Bad: Real Heroines of the Regency by Bea Coach, and this one is looking at people who haven't been really well spoken of or talked about a lot during that whole Regency period, besides like, you know, the main people that we always hear about, people like Jane Austen, people like that. So I'm interested in reading this book. It's not that long. So I might read Mad and Bad and then She-Wolves in Versailles during my like European history week, and then I will push the Afropean book to the next week, which the next week I'll get into, I have only 2 books set aside for that week, so I should have time to read all 3 then. The first one is Cleopatra. Oh wait, I should tell you. So the theme of my 3rd week is kind of more like ancient history, I guess would be the kind of topic that I'm kind of trying to read for that week. And so the first one I have is Cleopatra by Stacy Schiff. This is a book that's also been on my shelves for a long time. And this one is just a biography on the life of Cleopatra. I know there's been a movie that's announced it's going to be coming out, like another biopic with Gal Gadot is going to be the main character, who I know there's been a lot of like controversy surrounding her being chosen to play Cleopatra. I'm not going to speak on that here, but as far as the book goes, it sounds like a really good biography of her life. Like I know some basic things that probably most people know about Cleopatra's life. She's definitely a historical figure that comes up a lot in just like pop culture in general. But I am interested in getting to know a little bit more in depth on her story and stuff, especially because I just really love learning about ancient Egypt. I think it's just an interesting time to read about. And then the other one that I'm planning on getting to that week is The Fall of Empires: From Glory to Ruin, an epic account of history's ancient civilizations by Cormac O'Brien. This is one I've had on my shelves for probably like 5 to 7 years. I still haven't gotten to yet. I have started reading it though before, and it's written in just like a really accessible way to learn about ancient history, which is a topic that I am interested in and I've always been interested in. Yeah, so taking a journey through some of history's most climactic turns of fate, The Fall of Empires charts from glory to ruin the epic course of 16 ancient empires. So there's 16 different empires, ancient civilizations we're going to be looking at in this book, and I'm really excited to get to this one. It has like a lot of like pictures and illustrations and stuff, so I feel like this one will be pretty easy to get through. And then the last 2 books I'm going to share with you guys are probably the 2 that I am the most excited to get to, and I'm saving them till the end of the month for a reason, because I'll have more time to read them, because I think there's like 30 days at least in the month of November, so if I save this for the last week, then I'll end up having like 9 days to get through these, which I'm gonna need because these 2 books are gigantic. So the first one is Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. So the theme of this week of books I'm wanting to read from are books talking about Black history and experience in America. So I chose the 2 longest ones I have that are kind of intimidating me, but I'm really wanting to get to. And so this one, like I said, this is the definitive history of racist ideas in America. So it looks like this book came out in 2016, but I know with everything going on recently, it's definitely had a lot of more publicity and buzz around it, and I really want to get to this book. I know there was like a read along going on Instagram that I'm really sad and bummed that I missed out on, but I still want to get to this book, and it's very long. So this book is about 500 pages. So what I'm thinking of doing is getting the audiobook for it as well, so that I can also listen to the audiobook at the same time, like going back and forth with reading the book. Or sometimes I even enjoy just reading the book and listening to it at the same time. It helps me to get more out of what I'm reading and to like give more of my full attention to what I'm reading. And then the other book, which I said is also another chunky one as well, is The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. This is the epic story of America's Great Migration. And I've heard nothing but good things about this book. I picked this one up last month, I think it was, and this one, same as Stamps from the Beginning, is about 500 pages. So I have a few Audible credits that I could use so that I can get through this, because 1,000 pages in 1 week is kind of a lot, especially with working full-time. I'm gonna need the help of audiobooks, all the help I can get really, and I need to use those up anyway because I'm ready to like cancel my Audible subscription again. So anyways, back to The Warmth of Other Suns. This one is about the decades-long migration of Black citizens who fled the South for northern and western cities in search of a better life. From 1915 to 1970, this exodus of almost 6 million people changed the face of America. Like I said, I've heard nothing but great things about both of these books, and I've been wanting to read them for so long, so I'm not sure yet if I want to read them both at the same time. It might be a little bit too much, but we'll see. I was thinking if I read like, you know, 50 to 75 pages each of these a day, then I would be able to get through them in the 2 months, but in the like 9 days that I have. I think it'll be a good idea anyway to save them to the end of the month, because then if I don't end up finishing them completely by the end of the month, like I just want to take my time with them, then I can just finish them during the first week, roll them over into December and continue reading them. Because with all the other books I've shown you, if I don't finish them by the end of the week, I'm just going to table them and wait until the end of the month and see if I have extra time, or if I don't finish them during their week, then I'll finish them sometime in December. So that's my reading plan so far for the month of November. If you guys are into reading nonfiction, then you probably love this video. If you're not, you probably haven't made it this far because you're bored. But I feel like nonfiction gets such a bad rep because it's kind of associated with boring, dry texts. But if you can find nonfiction that's about topics and themes that you're interested in, that's really well written and easy to read, then there's just nonfiction out there for everyone. You just have to find what's good for you. So let me know if you're participating in Nonfiction November, if you've read any of these books. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!